Does this person even like me? No one thinks of me as their best friend. Both of us felt like the other person took the friendship for granted. Cutting someone out is just as toxic. I don't want to give anyone access to me. Guys, these quotes literally make me cringe. It's basically a polygamous relationship. I have a resting bitch face and everyone thinks I'm a fucking bitch. But besides that, hi guys, it's Lindsiann and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about friendships. Hot take, but I feel like friendships are way more difficult to navigate than romantic relationships. I think a big part of it just comes from society's emphasis on romantic relationships. You're taught so many things from like red flags to green flags in dating to how to break up with someone to whatever, like first date etiquette. I feel like everyone has a basic sense of how to navigate romantic relationships, basically on the same page, okay? But not with friendships. Friendships comes with so many expectations, insecurities, nuances. Basically, it can easily blow up in your face with a really big friendship breakup or falling out. Let's talk about insecurity and friendships. Guys, I feel like compared to romantic relationships, there is so much more insecurity in friendships, especially close female friendships, where it's like, am I their best friend? Are they my best friend? Are you closer to me than I am to you? Like, as much as anyone would hate to admit this, you feel this. I don't know, guys. It's like such a high school thing and it seems so juvenile and silly. There is that insecurity in friendships of feeling like this person doesn't think of me in the same way that I think of them. Because in romantic relationships, there is that commitment of monogamy. Usually. It's very verbalized. I pick you and you pick me and we're gonna date. But in friendships, because it's basically a polygamous relationship, you can have as many friends as you want. You can talk to as many people. There's not that level of commitment. And because there's not commitment, it feels weird to have expectation with it, even though close friendships can be like just as meaningful as romantic relationships. Like, one of my friends literally told me that she keeps a mental hierarchy in her head. She basically ranks her friends in terms of how close she feels to them and how she thinks they would rank her on their mental hierarchy. This type of shit is just exhausting. And I think when I was really insecure in high school, that like bothered me a lot, of feeling like no one thinks of me as their best friend. You know, like no one turns to me. That really just came from like a place of insecurity. Like I basically just didn't feel liked. I wasn't confident in myself. I don't know about you. I feel like there's a lot of times, especially with my female friends, where suddenly I'm just like, do you even like me? I think this comes down back to insecurity. But there's just like weird, I think maybe as someone that overthinks a lot, if I sense like a little bit of a disconnect or something's like weird or they're acting weird, their body language is weird, it's so easy for me to go down a spiral of like, does this person even like me?
Basically, all of these feelings accumulate to friendship anxiety. Friendship anxiety is just like that quiet doubt that creeps in when you least expect it. It's rereading a text 3 times, wondering if you just said the wrong thing. It's a subconscious feeling that maybe you care more or that you're slowly becoming less important to someone who means so much to you. It's overthinking the silences, second-guessing the plans, and wondering if the dynamic has shifted without you noticing. But more than anything, it's a fear of losing someone that feels irreplaceable. Fear that sometimes makes you hold on too tightly or pull away to protect yourself. And yet, the only way to truly calm that anxiety is to trust the connection you've built and remind yourself that no friendship thrives without patience, honesty, and a little bit of courage.
Chapter 2. Friendship breakups. There's obviously a lot of reasons why friendship breakups can occur, but I feel like resentment is really the silent killer. And resentment often comes from insecurity, feeling neglected, different expectations. I've had 2 friendship breakups in college, and something I think that happens so often is this feeling of, I like you more than you like me type of shit. Both of us felt like the other person took the friendship for granted and wasn't putting the same amount of effort, and I think as a result we just felt hurt from that. Bruh. We're just not taught how to communicate and how to resolve conflict. It just didn't work out. I think as humans, like, we really need conflict resolution classes from an early age, because obviously in any friendship, problems are gonna occur. When you spend so much time with someone, you guys are gonna disagree on things and you guys aren't gonna act exactly how the other person expects you to act. You're gonna make the other person feel a sort of way. You're gonna hurt the other person. You need to be able to work through that to have lasting friendships. It is difficult because it requires you to be uncomfortable, it requires you to be vulnerable, to fix your attachment styles. Something I don't like about the current culture, on TikTok, we praise people for leaving toxic situations and cutting out toxic people. To an extent, I agree with that. It is important to set boundaries and know when someone is truly being toxic to you. But I feel like a big part of that is just a victim mentality and just labeling a little thing as someone being toxic. Cutting someone out might be easier for you to swallow than sitting down and having a really uncomfortable conversation with them and working the situation out. So I think that there's a distinct difference between cutting someone out versus resolving conflict. Because honestly, I think cutting someone out is just as toxic because it's just avoidant attachment style. Like, you don't want to address something, so snip, snip, they're out of my life. I don't want to give anyone access to me. Like, these quotes like literally make me cringe. I don't know, it feels very the universe revolves around you kind of thing. I think people need to understand that the most important friends in your life aren't gonna be the ones that you have the least amount of conflict with. It's gonna be the ones that you have conflict with, but they stay there and stick with you to resolve that conflict. That shows a true depth of a friendship. Willing to sit through those fucking awkward ass pauses during a very intimate talk about what your friendship means to each other. And I think that's when you get vulnerable. Chapter 3, friendship love languages. We need to talk more about friendship love languages, guys, but I think when there's like a really close friendships, there's often a very differing level of expectation. And it just comes down to how you show love, because just as you show love differently in romantic relationships, friendships are the same. Like, someone might really value quality time, so they might reach out to the other person a lot, and the other person might not really value quality time, but they might value words of affirmation.
Just because one friend doesn't call you every day doesn't mean that they don't care. They might be the one who drops everything when you need them the most. Friendship isn't about uniformity, it's about recognizing and valuing the unique ways people express their love. And I think in media, female friendships especially are so romanticized. People already come into these friendships with preconceived expectations and notions of what they want the friendship to look like based on what they've seen on TV. And just because a friendship doesn't look like exactly how you had it in your head, or your friend isn't acting in the exact way that you want them to, doesn't make them a bad friend. That's why I think communication is obviously so important, but it's also important to just let go of these expectations in your head, especially the ones that are curated by media.
Feeling lonely because you don't have as many friends as other people. I feel like growing up for me, I just never felt like I had that many friends.
And growing up, I just felt super shitty about myself because I just felt like alone. I felt like everyone else had friends except me, and I was just that floater that, didn't really have that best friend or friend group.
A lot of it comes down to a scarcity mindset. I think, guys, truly comparison is a thief of joy. Like, holy shit. If anyone should have any quote tattooed on them, it's this. Because I feel like I would always just compare myself to other people and be like, oh, I don't have a friend group, I don't have a best friend yet, I don't have this, I don't have that. Like, I would just honestly look over my current friendships that I do have, pour more energy into those friendships or the friendships that you want to continue than feeling sad that you don't have X, Y, and Z. Personally, for me, I have always been super shy, especially in high school, but I think it's always been hard for me to make friends because I'm that all or nothing person. I don't really have that many acquaintances because I have a resting bitch face and everyone thinks I'm a fucking bitch. But besides that, I really crave deep connection. I think it's a Scorpio. And so I want to be super close with you, or you're a stranger. Because of that, I feel like I've never had an abundance of friends. I've never been that person that gets stopped every 5 minutes walking in the quad, just knowing everyone.
And that's completely okay. I think I was so fixated on something so silly just because I was comparing myself to other people. But if you feel yourself in similar situations, my advice to you is, first of all, this is such a common feeling. Trust me, more people than you think also feel lonely, feel like they don't have enough friends, or feel unhappy with their social circle. So you are not a pariah. And second, friendships just take time and effort to build. I think a lot of times it can feel like you're stuck in a rut and that no one's gonna be friends with you, but a lot can happen in a year. Maybe a year from now, you will have more friends than you can even handle. And lastly, really focus on building that relationship with yourself. I think when I like spent a lot more time alone, learned how to be alone, learned how to do things alone, slowly started fixing like my own insecurities, my problems, how I view myself, comparison, all these fun little things, you know, about being in your 20s. That's when I stopped feeling so shitty about myself and I was okay with being alone. And that's honestly when the friends came in. So that is my unprofessional advice. Honestly, just be patient. Friendships grow in unexpected ways. And remember, don't write off the small connections, because even the smallest connections can blossom into really meaningful bonds over time. Let me know what friendship anxieties you guys have, but let me know if you guys like these types of videos. I love you guys. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.